Good morning and welcome to today's video. I hope the wind noise isn't too strong, but I've got my windsock on, so let's see what happens. But today is a very exciting video. It's a very exciting video because we are flying the Sling TSI. So the plane has been at airshows for the last 3 months and I've been eagerly waiting to fly it. I did a flight to check ride this morning with the test pilot at Takeoff, and I've just landed here now at Panorama. We'll do a little bit of a walk around and show you all the features of the new Sling TSI, but what an amazing aircraft to fly. The speeds that you can get out of this thing, which is pretty much a light sport aircraft, is, unbelievable. So let's start from the front to back, I think. A nice big upgrade on this aircraft is that the prop cord is much thicker. I believe it's still a 68-inch prop, but the cord is much thicker, obviously, for the larger capacity engine. We're running an Airmaster prop here, which has got an electric prop controller. The engine behind this is the biggest selling point, I believe, of the Sling TSI. It has the Rotax 915 engine, 141 horsepower turbocharged engine. I believe it's 135 horsepower continuous. So it's a nice beefy engine there. And we've got a big duct, NACA duct for the intercooler to keep that engine cold. Well, to keep it cool. This engine puts out a lot of heat. The next most interesting thing about this TSI is that it's got a thinner wing, slightly longer wing with tip tanks. I believe we can hold about 126 litres on either side. We've got 86 in the mains and 40 in the tips. So the wing is slightly thinner, and the ailerons are slightly thinner as well. I believe in order to get a lower handling speed, they've increased the size of the flaps. So the flaps are quite nice and slowing you down once you're in that wide arc. And then we'll move on to this little back panel here. You'll see that this is relatively soft back panel, and that is where the parachute is housed. So these aircrafts come standard with a ballistic parachute. Should anything go wrong up there, you do have that extra safety feature of having a parachute. As we come around, pretty much the same tail as the Sling 4. This particular TSI has a tow hook for towing gliders or banners if you wanted to do that. Standard trim tab, all pretty much the same as the Sling 4. If you guys haven't seen my Sling 4 video, I will link it up in the top, is it the top left hand corner? Top right hand corner, and you can have a watch of that. See all the basics of these types of aircraft and then the differences that the Sling TSI has. So quite a nice registration they've got going. Zulu uniform Tango Sierra India, which is nice and fitting for the Sling TSI. Quite a nice roomy little baggage compartment here. We've got 35 kgs of weight that we can put back there. It is a 4-seat aircraft, so we can have a bit of luggage in the back if there's only 2 of us, or we can carry 4 people quite comfortably. This aircraft will, I believe, climb at a rate of 1500 feet a minute, fully loaded with 4 people, 4 adult-sized people inside. The next thing I didn't touch on the other wing are these new wingtip designs. I believe that's it reduces the drag, and it's not quite as large as the Sling 4 wingtip. So that's quite a nice feature, and it looks pretty nice with your LED strobe and nav lights on the end. Other than that, it's pretty much a Sling 4, just with a much larger engine, much higher cruise speeds, much better climb rates. All in all, definitely the best aircraft Sling have made. I believe they'll be making this aircraft in a high wing pretty soon. So I reckon it's time we get inside the aircraft. I think once I'm in there and we started up the engine, I'll show you all the features that we have inside, all the Garmin avionics. But for now, let's do our pre-flight and get up out of here. We'll head into what we call the Johannesburg Helicopter General Flying Area, where we'll do some speed tests, and show you guys how the Sling TSI handles. Okay, and welcome to the inside of the aircraft. Both my cameras are finally recording. So while we warm up, yeah, we are pretty much warm already because we've just come off a flight. But let me just show you around the inside of the Sling TSI. The standard package that Sling do now are the Garmin packages. So this has got the Garmin G3X Touch. Honestly, I think the most amazing avionics suite there is out there. A little bit pricey. Just a few other things. With this being a Rotax 915 IS turbocharged engine, we have lanes instead of magnetos. Basically, the lanes are your ECUs. So we have two ECUs, one backup, and this is our backup switch here. So should anything go wrong with both of these ECUs, we do have an ECU backup. Alright, so it also has a backup battery. So if you can see here on this camera, we have two voltage readings, one reading from the engine itself and one reading off the backup battery. The next thing is that we do have prop control. This particular one is electrically controlled. So we have our prop setting here, and basically it's got takeoff, climb and cruise. What those are telling us, takeoff will give us maximum power, 5,800 RPM. Climb will give us maximum continuous power, and cruise will give us our eco mode. We do have an autopilot on this aircraft. Autopilot controller is here. We'll go through that once we get up in the air. Garmin G5 for backup, and then the Garmin radio. So everything in this aircraft is Garmin. Very easy to use, very intuitive. You know, I'm not going to knock any other avionics manufacturers, but this is the best out there at the moment. I'm waiting for someone to create anything better than this, but I think it's going to be a tough job. We're going to fly out to the Johannesburg Helicopter General Flying Area, which is the training area literally right above this airport. We're going to show you the speeds at which this aircraft can pull off. But also yet fly at, at relatively slow speeds, like its younger brothers, Sling 2 and the Sling 4. Panorama traffic, Tango Sierra India will be taxiing from the parking to the holding point, runway 20. Yeah, it takes a little bit to get this moving, but once it's moving, then it's through that inertia and under its own power. It moves relatively quickly, actually. Yeah, this particular one has a handbrake. I prefer the handbrake because this is a steerable nose wheel. Obviously, if you've got a free castering nose wheel, you can't have handbrakes. You have to have two toe brakes. Okay, so I'll put the brakes on. Yeah, we're sitting saying 2,200 RPM. So what we're going to do is test our controls. Alright, and we're free and correct. Our master switch is on. We don't have a mixture. We don't have magnetos. We have lanes. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a run up just to check that both ECUs are in fact working, and then check the fuel pumps as well. So we'll push to 4,000. As we cross through 3,000, make sure those brakes are holding, and they are. That's 4,000 RPM. Just bring it back a touch. So we're going to test lane B first. Make sure lane A is working.
Helicopter General Flying Area, Robbie 22, Zulu Sierra, Romeo Papa Tango. Enter the GF.
Alright, wait for that light to go out.
Over the high ground.
Doing its test, and then we'll do lane A. Alright. We should see the RPM increase if we leave lane A off, which it is doing in fact right now. So we'll put that lane A back on. Okay, wait for the light to go up. Temperature, pressures are all in the green. Fuel pressure is good. Alright, so we're going to test our main pumps. So we're going to switch off the auxiliary pump. We still have fuel pressure. Switch back on the auxiliary pump and test that auxiliary pump now by switching the main pump off. And we still have fuel pressure. Alright, and we're going to test our prop, so we're going to flick that into manual. We're going to coarsen the prop out. Okay, RPM decreases, manifold pressure increases, back to fine. RPM increases, manifold pressure decreases. Okay, so we're going to go coarse and then back to automatic to just check the automatic setting is in fact working. And it is back, RPM up and manifold pressure down. Okay, so that's it for our engine checks. We're going to test the idle. Make sure it still stays running at idle, which it is. All fuel pressure still good. Back to 2,000 RPM in our Rotax engine. All temperatures, pressures are all in the green. Alright, and we can pretty much line up. Our field is on. Instrument
is set up 1024, which is about right for this airfield. Hatches and harnesses, okay. Closed and closed. Temperatures, all good. Trim, set, and seatbelt is on. Alright, we're ready to go. I want to set this to takeoff to get maximum RPM on takeoff. Panorama traffic, Tango, Sierra, India, entering and lining up runway at 20. We'll be right and out routing to the helicopter general flying area at the Heineken factory, and we'll be climbing to 6,500 feet, Tango, Sierra, India. Okay, let's go. Landing light comes on. Autopilot stays off. Strobe light comes on. Okay. Wind. We got a slight right crosswind. Transponder set up. And DI is aligned, runway 20. And we're ready to go.
Traffic in the helicopter GF, this is helicopter Oscar Romeo Delta.
Airspeed's alive, and rotate.
Feet en route, ran to Paris. Over 6,000 feet for the...
yeah, that's 70. And we'll climb out.
Traffic Oscar Romeo Delta.
But as you can see, we've got a 1,500 foot per minute climb rate.
Robbie 44 in the GF, your call sign please. Lekker man, lekker. Waar is hij nou?
Alright, that's 300 above. Auxiliary fuel pump comes off.
Good, QNH is 1025.
Fuel pressure still there. Flaps are up.
Johannesburg.
Flaps up.
Nou voorbij komen. Ek het water net voor my.
Up to climb, 5,500 RPM. Excuse me, 5,400 RPM.
Alright, ek dink.
Yeah, passing through 6,000 feet.
Alright, jy rand water
500 to go.
Rechterkant. Direct aan my linkerkant. Daar het 'n vliegtuig hier opgestyg by Panorama. Maar ek is
Okay, so we're leveled out here 6,500 feet. Yeah, that's 120 knots indicated, 140 over the ground. And we're on the step. Still building airspeed 6,500 feet. Now you can see why this aircraft is so bloody amazing. And that's almost a true airspeed of 150 knots over the ground. And we're already at the Heineken factory. That is so quick. Traffic in the Johannesburg helicopter general flying area. Tango Sierra India is now overhead the Heineken factory. 6,500 feet. We'll continue routing in a southerly direction and operate in the helicopter general flying area for the next 20 minutes. Okay, so we can bring that power back slightly now to 80%. There's our power setting here, 84, 83. There we go, that's about 80%. So here we are in the cruise. I'll flick that autopilot switch on. Nice thing about this autopilot controller, if I pull up and I'm in a funny attitude like this, click that level button and it's going to put the aircraft back in a level, straight and level attitude. Alright, so let's get our heading bug back. Now we're going to fly a heading of, let's call it west. So we'll hit the heading selector. It's going to turn us on a westerly heading. We're burning about 30 litres an hour, doing 150 knots across the ground. I mean, that's rather unbelievable to me. Yeah, so we're turning onto our northerly heading here. Keep coming around to stay for the higher ground as far as 030. What else can I tell you about this? I think that's pretty much it. It's very similar to the Sling 4 in the way that it operates, but obviously much quicker with this 915 engine. Yeah, this engine is something else. Especially on takeoff, it is, honestly, it's you get pushed into your seat straight away and you're climbing out at, like 1,500 feet a minute. It's absolutely ridiculous. Traffic in the Johannesburg helicopter general flying area, Tango Sierra India, approximately 1 nautical mile to the eastern side of the Eye of Africa, 6,500 feet. routing in a northerly direction, and we'll be turning back on ourselves to the Heineken factory, Tango Sierra India. Tango Sierra India is going to amend that last call, and we'll be joining overhead panorama for a low pass, Tango Sierra India. Okay, let's switch that autopilot off. Alright, with the wheels, make sure George doesn't control us. Here we are, 6,500 feet. Panorama traffic, Tango Sierra India. Now coming up overhead the field, we'll be doing a low pass. Runway 20, join on the left downwind, runway 20. Panorama traffic, Tango Sierra India. Short final, runway 20, low pass. Traffic in the channel for helicopter channel flying Tango Sierra India 6,300 feet, and we'll be routing now from Panorama to Tetterfield, Tango Sierra India. Tetterfield traffic, Tango Sierra India, is approximately 3 nautical miles to the north of the field. We'll be joining overhead 6,500 and call next. Tetterfield traffic, Tango Sierra India, now overhead the field. We'll be joining on the right downwind, runway 29. Okay, so we set up for downwind. It's quite a slippery aircraft here. So what we need to do is pretty much pull the power back to idle, get the aircraft to 80 and then manage the speed from there. As I say, it's quite a slippery aircraft. It takes a while to slow down, so you don't want to get caught behind this aircraft. It's so hard to do a video when you're in a new aircraft and you're trying to concentrate on what you're doing here, then concentrate on the video. I'm sorry for that, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video of the Sling TSI. I believe it's an utterly amazing aircraft. There's another YouTuber who's actually building his own right now, Mojo Grip, so I wish you luck in doing that, because this is truly an amazing aircraft. So yeah, we'll set up here on downwind. Yeah, power all the way back now. Get that speed into 80. Then we can put our auxiliary fuel pump on. Alright. Once we got the speed down, there we go, we can put the first set of flaps, and now we catch the altitude with the power. So we want to fly about 80 knots on downwind. Yeah, and we're set up for landing, Tetterfield traffic, Tango Sierra India, late downwind, runway 29, full stop. Yeah, and we can start to turn our base. Second stage of flap. And this is where we slow down to 75, trim ourselves out. And we've got lots of smoke on final approach, well just to the left hand side of final approach, so I hope it doesn't get in our way. Tetterfield traffic, Tango Sierra India, turning final approach, runway 29, full stop. This should be interesting through the smoke here. I've still got clear side of the runway, but it looks like burning some dry grass on the edge of the airport here, which is kind of annoying. Pull that power back. Still got the runway in sight. Okay, last stage of flap. Alright, and we're down at Tetterfield. Tetterfield traffic, Tango Sierra India, we'll be backtracking runway 29 for the ammo. So cool, thank you guys for watching this video. I know it was a little bit haphazard with me trying to figure that out. yeah, everything that's going on in this aircraft as well as make this video. But I hope you enjoyed this review of the Sling TSI. Pricing on this aircraft is fairly expensive with this engine. You're looking at 2.6 million rand base price. That being roughly, call it $190,000 to $200,000. But yeah, what an amazing aircraft to fly. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.